Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to the Tuesday, June 16th Finance Agenda Prep meeting. At this point in time, I will yield the floor to Chairman Keller.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Is this on? Okay.
Can everyone hear Mr. Keller? No?
Can y'all hear? No?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, we hear you. I can tell you. Oh, wait, there it is. All right. Testing. Sibilance. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Item 1 on our agenda is appropriation for the Economic Development Capital Fund 27 in the sum of $28,692.35. This is to replace security cameras in City Hall and Police Department. I'm moving forward item 1 before council with recommendation and approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 1?
Is this the, if I remember correctly, this is where we're replacing a certain amount every year, every 6 months?
Well, we've got, the cameras are at their end of life. We're having connectivity issues. We're having recording issues. So yeah, we're just trying to replace as we can go.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion on item 1? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 1 to the full council with recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 1 is forwarded. Item 2 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to accept the lowest responsible bid for the 2026 striping contract and award the bid to Time Striping Incorporated. Moving forward, item 2 to the full council with recommendation and approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 2?
Yes, Kenneth, I know we've asked, is this going to be, I'll let you get up here first, then so you can identify yourself. Is this, one, where is this going to be generally? Because I know I was looking at North Knoxville and Second Street, you can almost not see anything. And the second thing, the council had asked, could we get reflective as much as possible? I know it's more expensive, but anyway, could you just tell us what we're getting?
That's what we're going to use from well, in most areas. The only way we would use paint anymore is if we know a year or so that we may be doing work there. So we normally do paint in that case. But the areas we're working on, one of them you mentioned is North Knoxville, and I can just tell you, old Highway 24, where we just did the work there, that will be paint. That will not be thermal because thermal won't work on that. Also, West Harold, Joplin, East Gum Street, Shepherd Drive, South Frankfort will also be another one we just did, and it will also be paint as well. But yeah, we're starting to do this yearly. We go around and we try to do the big areas and we drive around and find the worst areas, and that's what we've been trying to do. So
Thank you. And can everybody hear that mic? When Kenneth was talking, can y'all hear? Not clearly? Okay. Do we have an AV? Anybody here from AV?
Sorry, I was off.
Oh, there we go.
But just maybe point it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
All right,
not
thank you.
necessarily pointed at his mouth. Yeah.
I'll
Thanks.
try it next time.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Duval.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion on item 2? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 2 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 2 is forwarded. Items 3 and 3A. Item 3 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute an Arkansas Historic Preservation Program grant agreement with the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism to be used on City Hall renovations and other purposes. And item 3A is the appropriation from the Economic Development Capital Fund 27 in the sum of $375,000 to be used to fund to fund that grant. moving forward items 3 and 3A to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on items 3 and 3A?
The carryover, is that the city share, or what percentage is the city share?
That's the 125.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 125 is the city share. Ms. John Dahl worked really hard to get this grant, and we were actually anticipating phasing this grant, but she was able to work with them, and we're getting this large of a grant and much needed work to be done on City Hall. So,
What projects are you? what
Yeah, I'd like
projects
to
are
hear
you-
it.
well, I don't have my packet in front of me, Ms. John Dahl.
This is to repoint and seal the brick on the north and the south side of the building, and to repair and replace the doors on the north and the south side of the building. We were unable to get the funding for the west side of the building. However, if bids come down lower, AHPP will work with us. If we can get it down within this grant, we'll try to do the whole thing, but it's for those two sides of the building.
What did you say is going to be done to the brick?
To repoint. So what that means is they're going to take a little bit of the mortar out, and they're going to replace mortar so that we are sealing and stopping water from penetrating into the building. And then we'll be placing a sealant on the building.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. John Dahl, for working hard on that.
Is there any further discussion on item 3 and 3A? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 3 and 3A to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Items 3 and 3A are forwarded. Item 4 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute an easement agreement with Arkansas Tech University and for the purpose of widening Reasoner Lane at the intersection of Arkansas State Highway 7. Can you move forward item 4 to the full count? Actually, I'm not going to make a motion on this, sorry. I work for Tech, so I'm not going to make a motion on it.
I make a motion to forward this item to the full council with a recommendation for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on item 4?
Yes. Mr. Duval, so the flooding that occurred, how far is this going to go on Reasoner Lane? Given the flooding that happened at Holiday Inn Express, I went and looked at what y'all did. First of all, how far, is that going to go back that far, or is it just going to be at the intersection?
It's just going to be at the intersection.
Okay, well, then that's a subject for another day then.
Okay.
Is that a
Or-
private, is that creek private? There's no public easement on that?
That's correct.
So, okay, well, I'll discuss that with you then.
Okay.
All right, I just want, if we were going that far down, then I was wondering how many birds we
Yeah.
could kill with one stone.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Hey.
gotcha.
Hey, what is the timeline on this? When are we wanting to do that?
Say that again?
When is the time, like, what is the timeline on doing that on Reasoner Lane?
It's on the agenda for y'all's coming up council. So after that's, if y'all pass it, probably a month after that,
Oh, cool.
before it will get started.
Awesome.
Is there any plans to do any other improvements between that intersection and I-40?
You mean in the signals, or what do you mean?
Yes, so about, I don't know, back in February, I did a little dig into traffic there, because anybody that's gone through there at a decent traffic time knows it's mad chaos,
Yes.
to say it lightly. They had 288 reported accidents in the last 5 years, so
At that
there-
intersection?
there's one a week in that corridor right there.
You-
So I don't know what our safety guidelines are that say we need to make improvements, but that's got to be a flag somewhere.
Yes. Well, I
so-
think the accidents are usually happening out on Highway 7 because it's pretty narrow there. We're not doing anything to that, but I mean, we can definitely talk to RDOT and
you know, we can put in a request, RDOT,
we can
and
put
whether
in
they
a-
move on that request or
Yes,
not
yes.
is our issue.
But
So
for
we can
us-
put in a request.
I would very much like to see some kind of a study done from RDOT on that.
Okay, I
That
can,
One wreck a week
that's a lot.
that's telling.
I didn't realize there's a wreck a week there.
288 between January 1st of '21 and January 1st of '26.
Okay.
So is that between Aspen and Reasoner, or is that between I-40 and Reasoner, Mr. Olson? Do you remember?
From I-40 exit to North Phoenix.
Okay.
To North
cool.
Phoenix?
So
Okay.
that's,
Yeah, Reasoner.
that's exactly right in there. So.
Yes, I would definitely do that.
Mr. Olson, do you remember, were those mostly at Lakefront or are they Reasoner, or did it say?
We just pulled a quick pull from that.
Just that corridor.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but they're both, I mean, that's
Now-
one of our worst intersections in town is Lakefront, because they've got a stop sign sort of in the middle of a entrance exit to a business, and on one
Between-
side, it's just
Between
crazy.
that and Harold Drive, they're.
Yeah.
Old
Harold
South,
Drive is very
Oh,
busy.
it's,
Old South and Apple Hop and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
other junk that's there. I mean, there is all kinds of traffic that goes through there. You go on a Sunday at noon,
Yes.
holy Hannah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Lord be with you. 'Cause
Yeah.
And Old South is
Yeah.
closed on Sunday.
well, you have to go around, I just go around to the light, because there's no way.
We're hoping that's gonna help
Yeah.
on the Sundays for sure, what we're doing.
Well, can we look at the whole area, Harold?
Yep.
Reasoner, because I know there's plans, I know Tech has got some long-range plans and all that, but there's got to be a way to, I'm with Mr. Olson, I think with this whole thing, both city and RDOT, we need to take a look at that area, because it
Yep.
is pretty tough out there.
We'll.
Just
I'll
like you
put in
needed
the
something else to
request
do,
with
right?
RDOT,
Well,
we'll see what happens.
with the addition of the development, you have the apartments, you got Starbucks, you
Yes.
got Old South. I mean, that's a lot of traffic.
Busy area.
That has increased over the past couple of years. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it just needs to be looked at, please.
I think, I will tell you this, we will probably have to adjust the timing on the signals for sure, but all the other stuff, I will have to talk with
I mean,
RDOT.
I don't think you need to change that signal's going to have to be fixed anyways. Like,
Yes,
that-
yes.
I don't want to, but I do want something done between those two,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
I will follow up on it.
One last question, is there still, I know when I was liaison to Tech and I talked to Dr. Jones, is there still a thought of an access road that would be basically Harold Drive around to connect back to 124, old 124 to O Street?
I mean.
I know that's a Tech thing,
Yeah,
but
we have,
I'll let the
I'll
mayor
jump in
answer
on that
that.
one. We've had conversation with Dr. Jones and Jamie Land at Arkansas Tech. So yes, that would be nice to have.
yeah, that would
Tech would
relieve
be
a lot
amenable
of
to it,
things.
but right now I think the last price we saw on that was like $9 million.
Yeah,
So,
That's correct.
yeah, so that's the last price we saw on that. So that's but that definitely is, they're amenable to that, we're amenable to that, but it's just trying to, where that goes in the queue, so.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
can we look at that from a economic development standpoint, given that's all interstate frontage? And if the chambers or the alliances find some, 4 or 5 good developments to go in there, is that something we can look at?
Yeah, we were in those conversations. Dr. Jones, Dr. Selman, myself, and Judge Cross, and we have all gone out and looked at that, looked at the path, looked at what that would look like. And so, yeah, they're definitely in the recruiting mode to try to figure out if we can find something for that land. I think it'd be it'd be beneficial in lots of different ways. It'd also be beneficial to Pope County EMS that's right there. They could come out and then scoot over to 124 in a much quicker way. So, yeah. So that is, and actually we do have, I apologize, we have written a grant to, I think it may be AEDC or RDOT for potentially doing the engineering on that project to get the engineering done on that. So we haven't heard back from that.
Is there any further discussion for item 4? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 4 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 4 is forwarded. Item 5 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute a grant with MKSK to to create a preservation plan for the city of Russellville. Moving forward, item 5 to the full council with the recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 5?
Yeah, could you give a little rundown on what this would entail?
Yeah, and
Ms.
Sarah,
John Doe.
come up and let us know all about it.
Hello. This year, when we applied for our CLG grant, we included funding for a preservation plan. So this is like any planning document. It would be something that's only adopted by resolution, is like a guidance for other regulations that might get put into place. But this is to see what the priorities for the city as a whole are regarding preservation within the city.
This is paid for by a grant, correct?
Fully funded
Yes.
by a CLG grant, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on item 5? Hearing none, all those in favor of the board, item 5, the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 5 is forwarded. Item 6 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to accept the bid for the North Arkansas and Louisiana Avenue Signal Project and pedestrian improvements with Bowden Specialties. Moving forward, item 6 to the full council with the recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 6? This is just for the same project we just talked about a second ago, right? Yes, sir. Is there any discussion on item 6? Hearing none. All those in favor of forwarding item 6 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 6 is forwarded. Item 7 is consideration of a resolution to accept the lowest responsible bid and authorize the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign construction agreement and associated paperwork with Curb Time Solutions for the construction project for the Schoolhouse Trail, Muskogee Avenue connection. Moving forward, item 7 to the full council with the recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 7?
Is this just the one block?
This is over right off 12th Street in the Sequoia area, Mr. Duval.
Yes. So it's going to connect from
It's going to connect from 12th Street, and it's going to, going down Muskogee.
Going down Muskogee, and
And
it'll
it's gonna
it'll
connect
intersect that trail system that's at the
Yes.
end there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Where you ride all the time.
yeah.
So,
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on item 7? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 7 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 7 is forwarded. Item 8 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign a 1-year extension of the lease agreement with City Corporation for the operation of the city of Russellville water and sewer system. Move we open item 8 for discussion.
Second.
All those in favor of discussion?
Aye.
7 is yes. 7, moving on to discussion. Mr. Mallett, thank you for coming here this evening.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mallett, can I ask a question? I know I requested that you and the board do a external forensic audit. Have you been able to engage a accounting firm yet at this time?
Yeah, we advertised for statement qualifications. We received them about a week and a half ago, so we've reached out to a firm that provides auditing, who will be our auditor moving forward for our annual audits, but they'll also come in and do a targeted forensic audit on our internal controls, everything that, came about, and see if everything we provided and found was accurate, and also if there's anything else that we missed. So yes, that's in the works. They haven't been hired yet, but we're negotiating
In
with them.
negotiation.
in the
Thank
near
you,
future.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Is anything on this agreement different than the previous? Anything change?
No, sir. This is in accordance with the amended agreement dated May 16, 2012. So this is just the annual approval by both parties to extend it by the 1-year additional term. But other than that, anything in the lease agreement does not change as of right now.
So, Mr. Mallett, I know that there's certain things you can talk about, certain things you can't talk about. this is something that you can talk about. But let the council, folks here in the audience, and folks watching at home, could you explain to us why City Corporation Water and Sewer Management Company would come? Why do you guys buy cows?
Okay. For anybody that didn't hear us ask why City Corporation would own cows, it's a pretty easy answer. We built a solar field behind the wastewater treatment plant. It was on 40 acres of land that we had been applying our biosolids for the last 40 years, which means it grows grass probably as fast as any place or faster than any place in Pope County. We were looking at, once we installed the solar field, there was about 20 acres of solar field with a fence, chain link fence around it, and then there was barbed wire fence around the outside 40 acres. So we were getting quotes to maintain that by either weed eating, bush hogging, poison, whatever it would take. And we were looking at bids ranging in the $100,000 or more to come in and do that. One, because you have to either poison or weed eat around several thousand posts. Or you come in with a bush hog, and every time they bush hog, they would break 10 or 15 panels. Now, the panels are just a couple, $300 a piece, so it's not like they're $2,000 a piece. But if you have to mow it bush hog it every week, and you're breaking 15 panels, we didn't think that was a very good idea either. So we started looking at how other people dealt with this. Again, some people spend the money on the front end to gravel or pave or whatever they might do to keep that down. We didn't have that in our project to do, so we looked at what some others were doing, and others were using sheep, because sheep are small enough, they don't hit the panels, they're not like goats, they don't chew the panels, they're not like cattle, they don't bump into panels and break them. So we have a contract with the sheep, a farmer that provides sheep to us at $7,500. We pay him to provide those inside the facility. And then we had the area outside, which is another 20 acres, and it's in the woods, and we still have piles of solids that are still in the area, so it would not been easy to bush hog, and it also still had the ability to throw rocks into the field. So we looked at cattle to outside the fence, because obviously they were secluded from the panels. So we moved forward and we bought 25 cows and put at the solar field, and we bought them in the spring. They did their work, during the green season, and in the fall we sold them. We made about $12,000, and that more than paid for the rental of the sheep. So instead of spending $100,000 for a maintenance contract to keep it maintained, we actually went in a different way, and we actually used that as a way to actually make money. We actually made $5,000. Currently, because one thing we did realize is when we buy cows, we're stuck with that number. And there were times we needed more, and there's times we could have done with fewer, and we had what we had. So this year we've decided to lease the cows, have a farmer bring in. If we need more, he'll bring more in. If we don't, if it dries up and there's not as much grass, he can take them and do something else with them. So we have no liability, no feed. And the market was pretty high this year in the spring, so what we made from selling them last year wouldn't have bought as many as we bought last year. So we decided that even though we likely won't make any money off of it, we'll still get, we're releasing it for $1,000 for that 20 acres for him to come in, but we have no liability. So we're still doing that, but we don't technically own them outright this year. Did I explain that enough?
Yeah, no, oh, hey, I'm back. Sorry, y'all. You went from not being able to hear me to it's like I'm right next to you whispering in your ear, and I apologize. Thank you for explaining that the way that you did. That answers a question that I know that I've received quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a legitimate question, that's for sure.
Hey, Mr. Mallett, I've had a lot of people reach out to us about y'all's renewal for your lease, and I know that's July 1st. You're not foreseeing any type of updates from the audit before July 1st, though, correct? Like,
No,
it's
ma'am.
far out.
No,
Okay.
ma'am. It'll probably be, I don't really know. Everything seems to be taking a lot longer than I expected. So I assume this may be 3 or 4 month, the targeted audit. Obviously, they'll start working on next year's audit, but that'll be a several month procedure. So I'm assuming it'll be a little quicker since it's very targeted and very
And
specific
pushed.
to our internal controls. So I'm hoping 3 or 4 months.
So, I don't know if you can answer this or not. How, given what's going on, so can you explain, first of all, I spoke with you about a week ago or so. So our ratepayers have not been affected by everything that's gone on there, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
So no one's paying more for what
No,
happened?
and I don't know if we mentioned, but in order for me to change any rates outside of what's approved,
Yeah.
you guys have to approve that.
Exactly, but I didn't know if, given all that happened, there was quite a bit apparently that went on, and so I was just double checking, and to put that out to the public, to make sure that everybody
Yeah,
understands.
and we won't be bringing any requests. Actually, while you're bringing up, our rate study is being finalized. We haven't done one in a couple of years. I don't expect anything out of the ordinary. There's no reason for our rates to be modified up. There's no big projects coming on, but when we get that, I'll forward that on to the council.
Okay,
so.
and then the other question, again, I don't know if you can answer this. So the things that we're missing, have they either been accounted for and/or gotten back, or we still don't, do you know what we don't know yet, or does that make sense? I mean,
Right.
where are we on that? I just want to know where we are and what you know and what you don't know, if you can tell us that.
Yeah, well, we filed an insurance claim and we had $100,000 coverage, so we've already received that. So, we've got that money covered. If we do recover it, obviously we'll have to pay that back to the insurance company if we recover the full amount. We have not recovered any other. Obviously, we're assuming that will take place in whatever court proceedings that we have. Obviously, it's our intent to go after all of it, and to recover all of it. We have indirectly, and I don't really count it, but it is factual. We have indirectly probably saved $150,000 over the last 9 months with vacancies and picking up changes. But again, we don't count that to go towards. That doesn't mean that's money that we're not going to try to recover. So,
Sure.
But we have offset some of that by some savings and doing things differently than we were doing at the time. But we're still going after the balance, both with the civil lawsuit directly, but also with pending criminal charges.
So that leads me, you just mentioned my final question, and I promise I guess I shouldn't promise I won't ask anything else.
That's fine.
So what measures, because I know you talked to me about some of this, so I want the public to hear the measures that have been taken internally to prevent this from happening. And I know, the person that did this was apparently pretty clever, but what steps have we taken or you taken to make sure we don't revisit this?
Several. The first one that comes to mind is we're not filling the position of CFO moving forward. We're going to hire an outside CPA firm. We're in negotiations with them. In addition to monthly financial report review and budget review, they're also going to do a quarterly audit. They're going to come in every quarter and randomly pull invoices, transactions, and match them up to the vendor and do things that would have cost some of these things. They'll do some pull some credit card receipts randomly for every quarter, so that there'll be a set of eyes looking at that. Obviously, we're looking at everything much closer now. We pass around everyone's credit card statements, and everybody looks at those now with much more detail than what we did in the past. We also obviously are going to have a different auditor moving forward. Shopto, who's been doing our audits for the past couple decades, I would guess, maybe from the beginning, is now again our in-service CPA support firm and accounting firm, and we're going to use a probably Landmark. Right now, that's who we're negotiating with. They're based out of Fort Smith, but they have a local office here, and they'll start doing our annual audits as well as some targeted audits that we may have from time to time, including the one we're talking about now. We've also separated the accounting department into two different branches answering to one person, so now you have a little bit of internal checks and balances, a little bit different than what we were doing before. So.
I know this is something that, sorry again. I know this is something that we discussed, and I know that it's been brought up before. So actually in the contract, Citicorp would come twice a year and speak to the council. And somewhere along the lines, we got away from that. And so we're only doing it once a year. Is coming to speak to us twice a year about, how everything's going as far as the workings and everything, but then updating on projects and whatnot that are in the works or are being planned or looked at. Is that something that Citicorp is willing to do moving forward?
Absolutely, and I've offered to come twice, but we don't want to see you more than once. I'm like, okay. And again, as long as everything's going good, that's always the case. My suggestion would be to return to the 2 meetings a year and come this time of year with maybe a financial report to the Finance Committee. And then my report at the end of the year would be more of a general report about our projects, how we're moving along, the second source, but maybe have a very targeted presentation, because that'll be when we're preparing our new budget. That'll be when we're going over our old budget. We'll probably have the audit, so I can present all that information in more of a finance budgetary meeting to the Finance Committee and the council, of course. And then maybe in the latter part of the year, I'll just do one based on what's going on and how things are moving in projects and such. Kind of like I typically do in October, so maybe April and October, 2 different meetings, one focused on finance, one focused on operations. That would be my suggestion. I'd be glad to do that.
So you were doing quarterly reports?
Well, we provide, our board packet every month to all the council members, but I was only doing, the amended lease agreement said that I would make 2 reports to the council. And this was with the previous mayor. After a while, it was like, once is enough. There's not enough changing in 6 months. But this is an opportunity to return to what the agreement says to begin with, and we can, again, do some targeted. But, technically, we provide financial reports every month in the board packet, but I understand that's totally different than me getting up here and pointing out some things to look at and some things to note, like I would do with our board. So I'd be glad to do the same thing with the council as I do with our board.
I'm sure the biggest issue that we're hearing is a transparency issue. So the more information you can give us to make sure that we're aware, I know I would appreciate, because I know that's a big concern I'm seeing on social media and from people calling me. So transparency.
Yeah, absolutely. And we post everything on our website. I know not everybody goes to the website and looks at things, but absolutely with the council. Since we're set up to meet twice a year anyway, that's a perfect opportunity to do that and provide that type of information. And if there's anything else that you would like to see in the monthly report, if you go through that and there's anything you see in our board packet and our monthly report, just let me know and we could add if you want more detail, anything like that, we'd be glad to do that.
I'm not a member of the Finance Committee, so I don't have a vote, but I see Citicorp as much like Public Works. It's our Public Works is super public facing. Everybody sees the result. We don't think about water and sewer very often until it doesn't work, but I would say on par it's the same thing. So we have Public Works up here more than twice a year. I would be interested in more of a quarterly approach personally. And then whatever this council looks like in January, one of my suggestions, I don't know, and y'all can, again, I don't have a vote because I'm not on the Finance Committee, but I would like to see some sort of the city finance committee present at board meetings at Citicorp, whether the liaison becomes, instead of just Citicorp, it's a finance committee meeting and it's there under those auspices. Maybe that's not as valuable as I think it is, but to me at least, again, it's just a suggestion that would be for the council when we organize or whoever's here organizes in January.
We can talk about it more then, but are you saying like you would want the liaison, or you would propose the liaison would be a member of the Finance Committee?
Or even the chair of the Finance Committee, where I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not on finance, but the gravity of this situation, hopefully it won't ever happen again. And as I told Mr. Mallett, I've been asking a lot of questions about Citicorp, but God forbid it could happen to the city too. So I'm not just casting stones. It could happen to anyone. But I just want to put in, I don't know, maybe that wouldn't do a darn thing.
Well,
but I just think if we have somebody that's our liaison over there, when we have a liaison, given what's happening, I just think something from finance just feels like the right approach. But I can certainly be convinced otherwise.
I think doing the quarterly reports, I know you mentioned doing that. I think that's maybe not a end-all to be-all solution, but I think that's something that I would be in favor of doing. Is that something that we could do tonight or recommend tonight?
Are you talking about them coming in quarterly to speak to the council or a finance committee or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you would have to recommend an amendment to the agreement to where that would be coming in quarterly. Mr. Gray, are you, I'm not, and I apologize for not following you.
Yeah, you're not the first person
No,
to
that's fine.
accuse me of that.
Are you recommending that a member of the council be part of the board of Citicorp?
Not really that. That would be something that the council would take up in January when the council establishes its rules, its liaisons, and all that. So, I mean, I guess we could take it on before if we wanted to, but
I would think that you would have to take it on if you wanted to amend the contract.
we can.
To where
and-
you would have, if the council wanted a council member to be part of that board and that was part of your agreement with Citicorp, you would have to amend that contract to.
We can,
And so, I just didn't know if that was,
That,
if
well,
I was
that
tracking
was,
you and
again,
if that was where you were wanting to go.
My last thing I was going to say on this topic, well, hopefully it'll be my last thing on this topic, is, again, I'm not on the Finance Committee, but I would recommend the Finance Committee to table the contract, negotiations and going forward with it until we iron out these things and any other thing that might come up, especially as the litigation goes forward and whatever.
Once again, I'm not on the Finance Committee either, but I think it would be a good idea to table just till we get past an audit. And in my opinion, it would, it would be good to table it to get past the internal audit so that we could feel a little bit more comfortable. But once again, I'm going to yield to Chairman Keller.
Well, I got just a quick question, just kind of how the mechanics of this work. And please correct me if I'm wrong. If I understand correctly, we've got a 5-year agreement, and every year, essentially, when 1 year expires, we tack on another year. So it's always 5 years.
Yes.
So is this agreement for 2031? So if we put it in this agreement that a council member was on the board, or they were going to report to us quarterly as opposed to twice a year as it currently is that something that wouldn't take effect for 5 years when this particular extension kicks in?
No, it's my understanding, Mr. Smith, chime in if you would, sir. I think if whatever you bring to the table to try to amend the contract, I think it becomes effective. Is that correct? It would be effective now. As soon as the council votes to have me sign a contract, then those amendments would take place. So if you chose to have quarterly reports, that would take effect immediately. And if you chose to have a board member, a council member be on the board of Citicorp, that would take effect immediately. It would not take, that's a good question, Mr. Keller, but from my understanding, that's how that works.
Okay. There have been several suggestions to table this. And go ahead.
What kind of time constraint, or what kind of time crunch would we be under, or would we be under one if we tabled it tonight?
If we tabled it tonight, it would come back up next Thursday. Yeah, it would come back up at the next Finance Committee meeting, which is next Thursday. Now, it could be tabled again at the Finance Committee next Thursday, and then it wouldn't come back up again until agenda prep in July. But I think that an item can only be tabled 3 times before, is that correct? Can it be tabled 3 times before it has to be acted upon or removed? No? Okay.
So we could kick it out next week. We could table it next week and not have any serious issues. Okay.
So a couple things. I think that it was set for 2 meetings a year a long time ago before Mr. Mallett took over, because our infrastructure was in shambles and there was constant construction projects all the time. And that's why we've kind of gone away from it now, because there's not really any construction anymore, because they've got bulk of that stuff fixed. The wastewater upgrades are all done, water upgrades are all done. Secondly, so I understand the situation we're in right now, and it's a big public issue. So I would not be opposed to going through this process, coming to agenda prep and giving us an update on pending litigation that you've got going that you can talk about. I'm 100% on board with that. The rest of it, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit of overkill, and especially with this lease agreement, what are we going to do? Not hire City Corp to handle our water and wastewater? Like, I don't. What's the flip side to that? I mean, because if something does happen, they're going to end up firing people and, you know, criminal charges being set, and we get somebody else to come in and run it. But I just don't understand why that's getting held up, I guess. That's my question.
Well, because we have a lot of moving parts. It's just like when there's a security breach of any kind, whether it's somebody breaks into a building and hurts people, what do you see the next day? You see security everywhere. And it lasts for a while, and maybe it should last forever. I don't know, but this has gotten a lot of traction out there, and we're the public body that is responsible for this. So I'm just trying to think of ways to do our due diligence. Sure, I think City Corp will be doing this work 5 years from now? I would say so. It's just, we've got a mess on our hands, and until we rake it all out, I just think we owe the public our best shot at trying to see what happened, and the legal process will hopefully bear that out, and then whatever we can do, because again, at the end of the day, it's us. We're the ones with the purse strings, and so.
Did you see that? I mean, the legal.
Yeah, we are. I mean, the council is the one with the purse strings. At the end of the day, for everything, that's a city entity with city money, city infrastructure.
No, they're.
They are, but who?
Well, we own the equipment, we own the lines, we own
Right.
the plant and everything.
We don't own their money,
And we contract.
so.
But when we ask for something, like downtown, when we were started downtown negotiations, Mr. Mallett was standing right there, and Mr. Westcott said, yeah, we're about, whatever it was, 2 million, 3 million short on paving streets. And Mr. Westcott said, you know what I'm about to ask you, don't you? And Mr. Mallett said, I'm going to be paying about $2 or $3 million, correct? And it was. So, yes, I understand the nuances,
No,
but at the end of the day, this is city property and city assets, and so I do think we have a keen fiduciary responsibility in taking a look at this as much as we possibly can.
Hey, this might be totally out of the realm. Is there ever a way where we could do maybe like a month-to-month lease situation so we don't have any kind of like disruption in service until we get this figured out?
Oh,
I
you're
know
not going to have
it's-
any you won't have any disruption to service.
Right, but
Yeah,
I mean,
you-
just so that people know, we're not just 100% renewing without doing due diligence first. I don't know.
I mean,
This is a
you
question.
still got 4 years left, so I mean, we're not going to have any disruption to service. At the end of the
Until
day,
5 years.
your team, your people are going to show up, your water's going to be on, and your wastewater's going to be taken care of. So there's no disruption to service. So
So next week, we can just go ahead and.
you can table it
address and
indefinitely.
table it?
Yes,
Okay. Well, or at least.
if you
or at
choose
least-
to.
Or at least table it to next July.
Yes.
I will say, it is very unfortunate that this occurred, but I will also say that anyone who talks to me about Russellville, one of the things that they're going to hear me talk about a lot is City Corp and the job that you guys do. And I'm going to Little Rock for 3 days starting tomorrow, and I know that I won't have a glass of tap water until I come back Friday night because it's horrid. you know, you guys do a fantastic job, and it is very unfortunate that we find ourselves, and you guys find yourself in this situation. And I want to continue to work with Citicorp moving forward. I want to continue to work with and continue to get the great service that we have been getting from you guys for the past, you know, for a very long time. That being said, though, I would like to hear the outcome of some of the moving parts that are happening with both the investigation and the audit. As has been stated, we've still got 4 years on the lease. I don't think that there's anything that's going to stop that. So my motion right now is to table item 8 until the next finance meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to table item 8. Is there any discussion?
Can I add one last thing?
Most definitely, sir.
I want to end on a positive. We're going to be in Washington DC first of next week, competing in the nation's best tasting drinking water once again. So by Thursday, I'll know whether or not we have something to celebrate or not, so.
That's
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, I had to win 3 times just to get there, so.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion on item 8, tabling item 8? Hearing none, all those in favor of tabling item 8?
You went for a vote, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
All those in favor of tabling item 8, please say, or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Item 8 is tabled. Mayor, that is the last item on our agenda. I yield the floor back to you.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will adjourn for 5 minutes, and we'll reconvene for agenda prep. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Where did Mr. Pearson go? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's call the meeting back to order. Welcome once again. We will call the Tuesday, June 16th. We'll go into council agenda prep. Are we good, Miss Skelton? Okay. All right. Mr. Duval, well, actually, Mr. Gray, can you give us your magic numbers?
I can, or is it still 31?
30, yeah, I think. Yes, yes.
Yes or no? 31?
Yeah, 31 is the
Okay.
magic number. You get 3 of those.
24?
24,
28?
28,
And 19?
19.
Will you want me to do it again?
And give us one more. Just give us one more.
All right, 18.
18.
Are we taking folks off the list once they've been?
No?
It's a rotating thing. Anybody that wants to be
Yeah.
on the list can be on the list.
Yeah. All right.
But if someone's done it, if their number comes up again, would they come in and do it again?
They'll do whatever I ask. If they can't do, I mean,
They're
I'm
they're
polite,
grateful.
and
Yeah.
then if they can't do it, they pass it. I didn't mean that way, but if they can't do it, then I pass it on to the next person. And if they've done it, if I've seen that they've done it and they've been called a second week in a row, then I will pass it on to the next person so that we don't have back to back.
All right. This time, Mr. Duval, you got your
Yep.
you got your update for us on Public Works.
Yes, the Knoxville and Main traffic signal is complete. Only thing left is RDOT has to do a walkthrough. I don't foresee any issues. So that project's done.
Speak a little bit more into that mic if you can, if you don't mind, or just raise it up to where
Okay, is that
direct
better?
it more better to your mouth if you don't mind.
Okay. The South Detroit sidewalk project started at, I believe, B Street and went all the way to 4th Street. All the sidewalk is in. There is still some backfilling and some sod that needs to be put down. Also, we're going to add some rapid flash beacons there for the one place that they will have to cross.
Okay.
Mr. Duval, on that project, is on the north side of the railroad tracks. Is there going to be any more extension of the sidewalk toward the railroad tracks, or is it stopping right there where it stopped right now?
It's stopping right there for now.
Okay.
That's something we will try to address
Because right now,
at a
that-
later date.
it leads to it's a
Yes.
sidewalk to nowhere there for
Yes.
quite a ways. So, all right,
Yes.
all right. Well, I'll look forward to that getting. hopefully-
Okay. The Prairie Creek project is still going well. The plan is still to try to have Parkway open before school starts, but, you know, like I said, no promises, but the work is on schedule, so I think they're gonna make it, hopefully. But that's all I have.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Duval?
So that's a guarantee that it'll be open before school starts?
I said I'm making no promises. Thank
They
y'all.
are doing a good job. It's looking
Yes, they
good.
are.
There's-
Thank
That's a
y'all.
large project, so. All right. Thank you so much. All right, we're moving on from carryover on the Finance Committee. We've got item 1 is going to be a consideration of an ordinance approving a private club permit for Los Munchies. Social club required for the state private club permit application, alcoholic beverage control. This is, Los Munchies is requesting that this would be the second and final reading, if the council is amicable to that. So that's just a request that will be, that is on there. Item 2 is the consideration of an ordinance to authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign an interlocal agreement with Pope County, Arkansas to split the one half of the recycling, as far as this is when we have a full container the hall fee and the tip fee, that would be split, which would be the same agreement that we had prior to the county having one. So that's the second of 3 readings on that interlocal agreement. You might want to drive out South Knoxville and see the facilities looking really good. Item 3 is consideration of a resolution to authorize mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign an economic development agreement with, not necessarily Texas Roadhouse, but it's Bowen Kemp representing Texas Roadhouse. This has been tabled from the May council meeting. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they should be present at the meeting on Thursday, Bowen Kemp's team, and I believe will be some other people here that may want to speak on that at the same time, because I do see one gentleman here from that has some issues, some concerns. And then we're going to go into unfinished old business, which would be a consideration of an ordinance accepting the dedication of right-of-ways and easements of the city of Russellville in the plat, Damascus Road addition, minor subdivision. This is a plat for 118 to 120 Damascus Road. This was brought and submitted by Barrett and Associates on behalf of D&T Investors. This will be the 3rd and final reading on that. And then item 2 will be a consideration of an ordinance amending the current zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, adopted by ordinance 2443. And for other purposes, this is submitted by the Planning Commission. This will be the 3rd and final reading on that zoning code amendment. New business on the agenda will be a public hearing, and this will be on the ConAgra vacation of a right-of-way or abandoning the public utility easement. This is, if you look at your map in your package, this is completely landlocked, and it is inside the ConAgra footprint, and they are requesting that we read this 1 or 2 times if possible. They do understand that it does not warrant an emergency clause, but they ask if we could have a condensed reading due to the fact that no one is affected outside of theirs. They have utility clearances from all utility companies, having no issues with that at all. So I believe you may have received an email from Planning and Development with a request. Was from Mr. Joe, was his name? Joe, yes, so okay. I think you may have received that.
And so they need this so they can move forward with their expansion?
With their expansion, yes,
Okay,
yes.
I just want to make sure that's what I was.
Yeah, that's their timeline, and like I say, they understand there's no emergency clause, but they did request an abbreviated reading, so.
So Mayor, so we just read it one time next week and then just go ahead
Then
and
it's
have
a
a vote?
30-day. If you so choose to suspend the rules and read one time only, then it would be a 30-day, the traditional 30-day wait period. So, because they do fully understand there's no emergency clause.
Okay.
Item 2 is consideration ordinance rezoning certain realty of the city of Russellville, Arkansas for other purposes. This is submitted by Mr. Joshua Spence. This has been recommended denial by the Planning Commission. So did we have anybody that was willing to? Yeah. Do you guys want to discuss this at any? We have someone that would speak on this if you would like.
Yes.
To
Yeah, if
hear
there's,
from.
somebody
Yes,
signs
if
up,
someone's
we
here
definitely
to
wanna hear
speak
that.
on it, then most definitely
So
we
this
need
would
to
be,
talk about it.
I'm assuming Ms. Alford and Ms. McGuire, is this what you were wanting to speak on or not? Okay, I didn't know. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, it's, if the council chooses to have you speak, I mean, would you like to
Well,
hear
if
from them, council?
They signed up to speak.
Well,
That's
they
the whole
put
point.
maybe, and they did put
Oh,
maybe
you put maybe.
beside it,
Okay.
so,
All right.
I just didn't, like I say, I did not know if you guys wanted to hear. I don't think Mr. Spence is here. I don't see him, so he may be here Thursday. I'm not 100% sure, but I just did not
wasn't.
know if you wanted to hear. Go ahead.
He's out of town today, but
Okay.
I did want to ask, can we ask planning and zoning a couple questions on this?
Yes.
Either Mr. Keller or Gavin?
Yeah.
Honestly, I had more calls on this than anything else on this very packed agenda, so I have
Okay.
a few things I got to unload. for some
Mr.
people
Wilson, when
is-
you get to the podium, would you please state your name for those at home?
Yes, Gavin Wilson, city planner. So this rezoning was brought to us back in March, I think was the initial application. The goal is to be able to sell mini excavators at this property. Per the zoning code, that falls under heavy equipment sales and rental, which is not permissible in the current C1 zone. We've had a lot of public comment, both at the May and the June Planning Commission meetings, as well as at long range this past Thursday, mostly requesting that the commission recommend denial on the rezoning.
Okay, so one of the questions I had was, whatever our decision is on this, will it affect I guess, the code change he has submitted to long-term planning, since the meeting is not till October?
Right. Yeah, so Mr. Spence approached the planning and zoning for potential or exploring changes to the zoning code that would allow for heavy equipment sales and rental in the C1 zone. Unfortunately, it was less than a week that the committee was able to consider that, just based on how Planning Commission and then Long Range lined up. It was decided at the meeting that the committee we just needed more time to be able to either find an appropriate solution or come to a final decision on whether that's even something that we want to explore for the C1 zone. That's about where we've landed so far. We just needed that extra quarter to be able to find a reasonable solution.
And the biggest concern is the downtown, the plan, and what could go there after, in the future, basically. I mean, what is the biggest fear, I guess, because this is the phone call I got? Like,
Yes.
what are we worried about?
Yes, sure. Okay, so per the comprehensive plan, the entire area around that property is slated to be downtown central business district. That particular zone only calls for, or particular prescription only calls for one zone, which is our C1 downtown zone. Hypothetically, let's say, council, planning commission wanted to move forward with the rezoning, that would ostensibly allow anything from, farm equipment manufacturing to a quarry would be permissible on that property downtown. It doesn't necessarily, and that's either via being permissible by right or special use permit. It does not necessarily match the character that is prescribed for the area per the comprehensive plan.
What was the zone would be changed to if you got what?
C2 highway commercial.
C2.
Right now it's C1.
And so C2 in the planning world is known as the Wild Wild West, correct?
A little bit.
Because just about lighting and everything else is whatever you want.
Just about. Yes, I would agree with that assessment.
And so that his only other option would be to do a variance, and that's what he brought to long-term, I guess?
So a variance cannot be approved by the Board of Adjustment for a use that is outright not permitted.
Okay.
And that's the current case with
Why
that
is-
property, yes.
Okay.
Long range exclusively looks at changes to the zoning code for more long-term solutions to things. So hypothetically, what we would be looking at in a change that would actually materially benefit that property owner would be either changing the definition for what he would like to do, or allowing the use to via special use permit or being permissible by right in the C1 zone at the long range side of things.
When is that meeting, your next meeting with Long Range?
Quarter 3 is going to be in the fall, so I would say probably September or October.
Okay, so we're talking September, October before anything's even begin to discuss in that.
We would
so.
probably, we'll probably have conversations internally before, prior to that meeting. But yeah, as far as getting something done on that, yes, it would be then.
But for our purposes, what's in front of us is voting on C2, not what
Correct.
might happen in
Yes.
October. So we have to deal with this first.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So, anything else, Ms. Wessel?
No, I'm good for
Okay.
now.
So, yeah, and like I say, kind of to clarify what Councilman Gray said, there's something before the council right now that will be there Thursday that is denying the use of that property based on current zoning regulations, and that came from Planning Commission with a recommendation of denial. So that's what the council is looking at this present time. So
Correct.
even though there is potential for
happening in the
something
background,
in
yes.
46 months, okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
All right. So we will have did you have something, Chairman?
Yeah, before we move on before we move off of item 2, I did want to say something.
Okay, yes, sir.
I hate that I'm not going to be here next week. So I'm going to miss the meeting next week. So I wanted to just kind of say something that I would have normally said at our normal meeting. I want to commend our staff and the planning department who worked diligently to try to find a solution for this. They looked for creative ways to try to help a citizen with their issue to be able to move forward with their project while maintaining the rules and regulations and of our city, of our community, and the character that we have set forth for our downtown area, and an area that we've put millions of dollars into beautifying and making as great as we're now seeing it be. So I commend y'all for the work that you did to try to thread that needle. Unfortunately, some needles just can't be threaded, and this is one of them. And so what I would urge everyone when the vote comes up for this next week is to remember that I've spoken with Mr. Spence. I understand what he's trying to do. I understand what he's wanting to do. And I hope that he understands me when I say, like, I have absolutely nothing, there's absolutely nothing wrong with his plan as far as him wanting to run the business that he's wanting to run. Unfortunately, the area that he purchased land to run it will not allow his business to run, and it's unfortunate. It was a fortunate oversight on his part, and I wish him best of luck of being able to move forward with it in another spot to be able to do this. But we have to remember that our job is to not think about what Mr. Spence is wanting to do there. Our job is to think about what the person who owns that property after Mr. Spence owns it, and after that person, and for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Because if we rezone this to C2, then we are opening right on our downtown's doorstep. We are opening up the possibility of, as has been mentioned, the Wild West. A quarry, which I don't know if there's anything to get from there, but you could get steel fabrication right on our downtown. There's a laundry list of businesses that would, not even with a special use permit, would just by right be able to go there under a C2 designation that the city would then would not be able to go and do anything about and say, no, we don't mind these mini excavators here, but we don't want someone putting a foundry in our downtown. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. So I'm not going to be here next Thursday to urge that folks vote no, so tonight is when I will have to do it. I really urge the council to vote no on this, not anything having to do with Mr. Spence, not anything having to do with his project, but because it is our duty to look at what the next 10, 20, 30 years is going to be.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any more questions?
Thank you all.
All right. Moving forward, item 3, we got 4 discussions coming up. So item 3 is a discussion on a proposal to form a data center zoning committee. This is sponsored by Council Member Justin Keller.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mayor.
Keller?
Thank you, Mayor. I am sure everyone like me has been watching in the news over the last several months, hearing about all the issues that communities are having where data centers are coming in and all the problems that have followed, whether it is the excessive noise, whether it is skyrocketing utility for both water and electricity, and just the general problems communities are having across this country. And I think that it would be important, it is important for Russellville to take some proactive steps in this. Right now, the only data center regulation that we have was written specifically about noise with crypto mining operations as the driving force behind it. And we're lucky to have had that, because had someone not said, wait, aren't these things really loud, when one came in, we wouldn't have even had that tool to use for that. But modern large-scale data centers are not like the crypto mine that we have over by Tyson on Tyler Road. These things are massive, and they scale to taking up millions and millions of gallons of water that communities right now we use, and then no longer have that as part of our reservoir. And then when times of drought come, then it's even worse. I think that because today's data centers are fundamentally different, their utility scale infrastructures with significant impacts on water, power, and long-term city resources, and that our code right now is not equipped to handle something like this if a project like this was to come to town. I think it would be important for the city to establish a data center zoning committee made up of members of the council, made up of the planning and the sustainability department, folks from the community. I would love to get folks from tech involved, who have technical expertise and so on and so forth as far as data centers and how they're used, and come up with a solution that we can present to the council that will allow us to modernize and be ready when a data center project does come to town, that we're able to handle it. And it's not going to be something that we're going to be caught flat-footed, and then we're just one more community that is we're just another anecdote of our electricity bills have quadrupled and our water rates have gone up 5-6 times because this one entity came and we didn't have the tools to handle it. So that's something that I would love to see us having moving forward. If there's anyone that's got any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer anything, but I think just having a discussion amongst ourselves would be great.
I would be glad to see something like this go forward, because I think at first you were recommending, I think moratorium was the first thing we had, and I certainly am glad that we're not looking at that, because data centers are changing by the day. So you mentioned millions of gallons of water. A lot of them, they do use a lot of water, but most of them are closed loop. So once you get that initial water, there is loss, of course, but one idea is Elon Musk says they're going to be in space one day. So I don't know how long that's going to be, but the other ideas that are right around the corner are tech companies offering everybody in this room free solar panels at your house. And they'll take you off the grid if you want or whatever, but it's going to free solar panels. Well, what's the catch? The catch is said company will put a air conditioner sized thing in the back of your house along with your solar panel transformers and all that, which will be a mini data center that will connect to your neighbor and their neighbors and the city and anyone else who wants the free solar panels. So data centers are going to be changing really rapidly, and the ideas for them. So I want to have ditches for them to stay between. I want us to have control over, okay, you want all this power, you got to figure out a way to pay for it. If you're going to use this much water, you got to have a closed loop system or something with efficiencies where you're not putting a strain on our system. So I love this idea of getting out in front of it some way, but I don't want to ban anything or put a moratorium on anything because this is the technology of the future, and you know, I don't want to ban anything.
No,
or put a moratorium. So
I
I'm
would
glad
say-
you changed that part.
I don't think we can't ban, and my only reason for a moratorium originally was a moratorium along with the formation of this committee was because I wanted to see, I wanted to make sure that if it took us, 12 or 18 months to do it right, that we didn't have someone come in when we had no guardrails.
Yep.
On the advice of our attorney, I've been told that a moratorium is in a legal gray area right now. And so while that may be something I want to revisit in the future, at this point, I want to get a committee off the ground and start talking about this because it's going to, as you said, it's going to change, and it's not going to be we've done it and now we're done. I think this is going to be something that the long-range planning committee is going to have to just constantly have on there. And Gavin and Victoria are going to have to learn more about data centers than they ever wanted to know. And we will as well.
Mr. Olson?
So, if I'm not mistaken, this would be considered large-scale development. And in a large-scale development, all of that has to be approved anyways. So that's where your guardrails would come from. So you're having a committee you're forming a committee to talk about something that you don't really know about and that's ever-changing. Seems like cart before the horse quite a bit to me. It also, to me, looks like we're anti-development, we're anti-business, all the things. Like Mr. Gray was saying, there is a lot of changes coming. The towns that you talk about are towns that don't have zoning codes and all these guardrails that we already have in place. So, in my opinion, the guardrails are already there. They can't just come and set up shop in our town. They would have to get approval from city services to even handle it. Most of them are handling their own power. We would have to give them water. I was talking to City Corp earlier. We currently have enough water that would handle most of them. So it would have to go through a check. We already have the checks and balances in place. I don't see any reason to have another committee. And on top of all of that, we don't have enough congruent acreage for one to come in anyways. So there's not even land in the city of Russellville large enough to house one of these. So it just seems like it is very much cart before the horse.
So how would you put I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So you're saying it's cart before the horse. So currently we have no rules on data centers other than a noise requirement.
They have to.
So what would be your suggestion is that they can go through large-scale development, but there's no like when something goes through large-scale development, there's still rules and regulations for that project depending on what the project is. There's, it's not like it's large-scale development and then there's just no rules. It just goes through the large-scale development process. If someone wanted to build a factory in town, there are still rules on the book for how a factory is zoned. There's still rules on the book that govern how that project would go. And it would go through long-range planning, and it would trigger that, and it would have all those things that are involved, just like a data center would. Unfortunately, right now, there are no rules other than you can't be loud, you can't be above this many decibels during during operating or while operating so far off the property.
They would have to get the stamp of approval, okay, whatever you want to call it, from City Corp to supply the water that they need, and Entergy for the power that they need, or whoever, and all of that has to go through large-scale development that has to be approved eventually by us. So that's the process.
But how we approve projects are based on the rules and regulations that we set up in the zoning code. If we have no rules and regulations set up in the zoning code and a project is before us, then we have no threshold with which to judge that project.
So what you're saying is that somebody can just come over here on the corner and set up a data center, and we're just going to let it go because we don't have any rules?
As I understand it, if someone wanted to come in and set up a data center here, and they had a site picked out, and they brought plans to the city, the only thing the city could judge against those plans, other than basic things that would go with any project, the only data center specific plan or questions that our staff would ask is, how noisy is it? And they say, well, it's not going to be above your threshold. Like, okay, well, then you've checked the box. What I'm saying is that, and to say that by establishing rules and regulations in our zoning code, that is somehow anti-development is ridiculous. To say that there are rules and regulations is not to say I don't want development. To say that there's rules and regulations to say that I am not for development at any cost to the community.
You're building rules and regulations around something that we don't know anything about, and that is, as Mr. Gray said, is ever changing every step of the way. So you can make a rule and reg now for what a data center looks like this month, and next month it's completely different. Either way, you can't do anything about it until somebody puts something in front of you. They have to put something in front of you.
I think
I'll say-
the difference there is that what you are the process that you are describing is a reactive process, and that's certainly one way that we as a council could act. We could act reactively. When someone brings something, then we choose how we're going to jump. Or we could be proactive and say, we as a community believe that this is the way that it should be handled in our and for our community, and to be proactive before something is here.
It wouldn't fit in the table of uses anywhere either. So that would
It's
have to go
already
through-
in the table of uses, sir.
Where?
Under data center,
Well, see what? See,
Mr. Gray, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, I try to always find the middle ground, and so I understand what Mr. Keller wants, and what Mr. Olson's saying also makes a whole lot of sense. I think maybe just exploring this topic, people that want to talk about it, I know citizens do. People talk about it all the time. I hear it everywhere you go, on the news, people downtown, whatever, you hear this. So I don't see any trouble in just sitting and get people in a room, get their ideas. Maybe we glean something good out of it, maybe we don't. So I'd be fine with just setting up something exploratory to see what we can learn. And we've probably got some experts out at Tech. We've got some folks, here in town that may know a lot about it and give us more pros and cons. I certainly don't want to be anti-development. I don't want to be anti-business in any way, which is why I said what I said. I want us to entertain what comes in, but it has to fit the needs of Russellville.
Mr. Keller.
it is in the Russellville zoning code, which was adopted on 3/27/26. It's on page 133 and 134. It would be section 3.30. So the only thing that we have in here for data centers is a noise study requirement, a noise attenuation plan requirement, and noise limits. That's it.
I see
And-
we could
and-
possibly add some electricity and water and
Yeah.
other things to talk about. So I'm okay with finding somewhere in the middle, and those of us that want to talk about it, we'll get together and talk about it, and those that don't, that's okay too.
No,
But I just think that might be a good middle ground.
I agree with that. Talk that's always a good thing. However, my question is, if they wanted to come in, a data center wanted to come in, they are going to have to get Citicorp to approve the amount of water consumption that they have to be able to put their facility in. That's a fact.
That is true to an extent. But beyond that, if you read the news and the issues that communities have been having with data centers all over the country, you hear of data centers coming in and saying, we're going to use X amount of power, and it's actually more. We're going to use Y amount of water, and it's actually more. I just within the last week, I read a story where, or heard of a story where a data center, they couldn't figure out where the community was using these millions of gallons of water, that it didn't make sense for the amount, even accounting for what the data center says that they were using. And it turned out the data center had actually tapped into the main line and was siphoning water out of the community's water system unmetered. And so that's where they were getting millions and millions of gallons that were being used that were unaccounted for. Now, I'm not saying that all data center companies are unscrupulous like that. I'm not saying that all data center companies are going to come in to take advantage of a community. But what I am saying is, if as a community we don't set the standards for what we will accept, then we are allowing someone who is not of our community to set those standards for us.
Is this something that long-range planning could bring something to their group and look at different things from other communities across the nation and bring something? I mean, if like I say, you could form a committee if you chose, or you could ask long-range planning to explore this and kind of see if they wanted to bring something to the council. Which I guess one of those, I was just trying to see which would be your best direction. Or would you, if you formed a committee, then maybe you give long-range planning some guidelines. If you allow long-range planning to do it first, then they bring it to the council to vote on, whatever that looks like.
I'm not opposed to that. My only concern with sending it to long-range committee is that they only meet quarterly. And so that would mean that any progress that was being made outside of just staff meeting together in between meetings would be slow. I would like to see traction on this faster than quarterly.
What if you did this? Mr. Keller, if you proposed an ad hoc working group, and those of us that want to join from this body can join our planning department, anybody else that would have an iron in the fire, and then the public, because we've done that before on everything from recycling to solid waste to, spending money, whatever. We've done this before. So I'd say make that proposal and let's get something set up, and those that want to, let's do it.
No, that's exactly what I'm proposing here. So I guess I don't know if I can even make a motion here, but I am proposing the formation of an ad hoc working group that would focus on modernizing our zoning code to address the issue of data centers.
He said it has to be done by a resolution.
Yeah, so you'd have to have a resolution to do that. And then we would also have to, like we did with the meeting as far as parking, if there were more than two council and myself there, then it would have to be,
We'd
a
have to make
public
public
meeting. Yeah,
meetings.
but we
Yeah,
all
so
know
I
that,
expect
but we
them
all
to
know
be
that,
public.
so.
Yeah,
yes,
they
sir.
would have to be public.
Yeah. So I guess I guess I'll talk to Trey about what a resolution would look like and when that would come
Okay,
before
so,
y'all.
yeah, so you could, if you wanted to bring that as a resolution, then we could do that, so. Okay. Anyone else on this? Okay, all right. Okay, so item 4 is a discussion on premium protein products that was sponsored by Councilwoman Young, and she is not here, and we also don't have any representation from Triple P here that I see. Would anyone like to pick that up or just move
Well,
on to
she
item?
asked me, she said she thought she might be able to make it. She's not feeling well, but obviously she didn't. She asked me if I would say something because if anybody knows, this is something, we don't have anybody from PPP here tonight?
No, there's no one that I
Okay.
see that is from
I
Triple
was
P.
hoping someone was here, but I have been on this since September, October of 2023. This is the number one complaint. If you just generic complaint, PPP is the number one. It's a nuisance when it smells bad. It's also an economic issue because we've had, out at our fantastic soccer complex, we've had these great tournaments going on, and Mr. Olson can tell you all about this. An amazing tournament with scores of teams in, and you're in oxygen debt playing soccer, and you get to smell that. And we've had participants, parents, coaches say, great facility, great tournament, never coming back. So it's an economic issue as well. Last August, I worked with Representative Duffield and asked him to intervene because things got so bad last July and August of 2025. He got ADQ involved, and I told him, I said, Matt, I need some help. I said, I'm an elected official, but you got bigger guns than I do. Can you help? And within the week, they were shut down with major violations and all kinds of things out there. I would like to say it got better after that, and it was for a while. Part of that's the weather, and I'm going to, Mr. Olson, I'd love for you to chime in because you know something about this industry. Anyway, I could talk all day about this, but this was something that, again, Ms. Young was bringing up, and I told her, yes, please bring it up. That's fine with me. I have a log here that I keep from all the complaints that I either get personally or through our city, people call me or email me, or through our city odor. Everyone here, there's an odor complaint form on the city website. Please utilize it. Please share it with your friends. And so I keep a log of all these things. I have my own personal observations because this has been something I've been working on for almost 3 years now. I will just go to Casey's or PPP or Atwood's on purpose and roll the windows down and just see what it's like. I will say the new world record was set on, for me, was May 11th at 3:45. I stopped at Casey's to fill up after I'd been out at our farm. And when I stopped my truck, air conditioner was on. When I stopped my truck, I could not believe the smell inside my truck. I got out of the truck and I could not breathe. I started the gas, I got back in the truck, and I still could not breathe. I put that one down as 10 plus because all we've got on our scale, our Likert scale is 1 to 10. So I put that as 10 plus. So there's lots of problems out there. Again, I would love for anyone that's got something to say about this. I don't know what to do, so I'll shut up, Mr. Olson. Maybe you've got something you can add.
Hey, Chris, do you give the emails to anybody before we get too far apart? I have that question asked, like when people do the complaints.
They can choose to be contacted or not.
Like, do you give them to PPP or to anybody other than
I
us?
have sent them to them.
Okay.
The previous iteration of management didn't seem to care when I sent them. I will say this iteration of general manager is more open when I communicate with them. They communicate back and they try to tell me something that's going on. I've made every suggestion in the world to one of PPP's, and Chris, please jump in on this one. One of their problems out there is they take anything. They take the lowest grade stuff there is. Believe it or not, there's grades of things that go in. When you take the lowest grade, you get the most money for it. But it also produces the most odor, and it's harder to control. So I asked them, I said, what if you process that at midnight? Now, that is not great for somebody who, like I used to work shift work, and you get off at midnight, and you get to smell it. But anyway, I've tried everything I know, and I know legally we've got issues. So, Mr. Olson, I'll shut up, because you have some expertise I don't have.
Well, so first off, isn't there a rule like if two people complain within 30 minutes, they have to investigate it or something?
I don't know that. I do know that ADQ, as you well know, when they go on site, stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
So if I
We
call
have got them
or-
on site several times.
Yeah. And, we had the spills and everything else in our community, and the mayor told them, I believe you told them, they were only to be on X highways.
Yes.
They were not to get on our city streets, because we had that big spill at
And
East
they seem to
Parkway
be
and
doing that.
Weir.
They seem to
Yeah,
be
it seems to
doing
be.
it.
We haven't had any, and baffling their loads, they were having loads that were sloshing around. They're not baffled or contained, and so we've had all kinds of issues. This current general manager is more responsive. Things seem to be a little better out there, but
We're still having issues.
yeah, it's
So I'll give my 30 seconds. I work with rendering plants all across the country. That's my day job. I deal with rendering plants all across the country. And it is pretty well the standard for anywhere else in this country that if you can smell it across the street, they get an odor violation from the state or from the health or whoever it is, whoever their governing body is. I don't understand why that is not the case here. That's the part that absolutely blows my mind. Number two, they bring in loads from, I've had customers in Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee. They ship all these loads to Russellville, Arkansas, because nobody else will take them. That's how bad it is over there. And we just take it. We just cook it, and everybody smells it, and we deal with it because we dealt with it forever. I understand the economics and the jobs and the city built around them, and I get all that stuff. But to simplify it is, they don't manage their odor issues like every other rendering plant in the country. They don't manage theirs. It's a management problem. I have no issues with rendering plants, obviously, because I work with them every day. It is a management issue. They do not take control of their odor issues. Yet there's places that have warehouses that they park their trailers in and then they have the buffers or whatever at the top, scrubbers at the top that scrub the air before it sends it out. That's how technical it is at most rendering plants. They don't do any of that here. When they utilize the scrubbers, that's when you notice that the smell's not here. They don't operate them all the time. That's a fact.
but by law they're supposed to.
They are.
ADQ, that was one of the things that they found
Yes.
in one of those investigations, what they weren't being used. So I asked, why would you not use them? I think it was you that told me that said, because they're expensive.
They're
They
expensive
cost a
to
lot of
operate.
money to run the scrubbers.
That's
So
exactly right. So it comes down to I love a good rendering plant. That's a great customer. But they need to manage their business the way that is neighborly, friendly, and good for the city, and they're just not doing that. That's my 2 cents.
Can we issue more, can we issue citations or?
We can't issue anything.
Okay.
ADQ can. Is that my correct? Yeah.
I
Is
mean,
there a way
Mr.
we
Smith
could?
has said that Mayor Horton took this on and tried, and we got the old factor meter, and the city bought that and all that. I think it's exactly what Mr. Wilson's saying. Until PPP wants to be the neighbor that they need to be, I'm not sure what we can do.
Sort of going the legal case and trying to, I mean, literally.
Yeah, and if again,
that's where we have to go if
it's
we
pretty-
want to do something about it.
pretty
It's
pricey.
a commitment that the council will have to vote and say, yes, let's go and go the legal route, but, I mean,
And
we
we
can't
would
do
need
that.
the citizenry as an army behind us if we're going to do that, because it will cost money. It would cost quite a bit of money to go into that kind of litigation.
But if there's a bunch of complaints, ADQ has to come on site, and it's crazy how well, or how, when we don't know they're there, that's a good day. And when ADQ comes on site, we don't know they're there for a week or two. Is there a relationship with that? You tell me.
Well, in August of 2025 and September, it was pristine out there. There's no smells, and it looked different. At least the highway spills have stopped. That's when I called Representative Duffield, was when somebody told me they'd spilled something out there. I drove the truck that I just bought out there. I got home and my driveway and truck smelled like the rendering plant. So I went to a car wash and that didn't help.
Still
So it kind of had to wear off in the August heat.
I had 2 calls about it today, actually, and I mean, I would love to look into any kind of what the financial commitment would be on our end, because someone has to do something about this. My family lives in North Carolina, they do poultry, exactly like you said. They come to visit me and they cannot believe that ours smells like this, and we let them get away with it. So if there's a way we could do something, I can't imagine that someone's gonna be upset with us about it. I think we should at least look into it and make
Well,
a decision.
I can tell you, I've done more than one deep dive in this. Their ownership is part U.S., part Mexico, part Ukraine at my last check. And the folks who now own it no longer used to have one of the owners used to live here in the community, but now none of them do. And so that's a problem too, is when you have, it's just not neighborly. The city has grown around it. I tell them all the time when I talk to them, we have 30,000 neighbors, and you got to do right by the 30,000 neighbors. I'm sorry, the plant opened in 1958, I believe. It's been here a long time. And when I was a kid, my grandma lived at Dardanelle. I'd come over here, we'd smell it, and I'd go, Grandma, what is that? Well, there was nothing out there. There was nothing out there, but there is now. And imagine what development would go on out there if it didn't smell like that all the time.
Mr. Olson mentioned other states, other jurisdictions having odor violations in place. Are we saying that we can't enact some sort of additional penalties on the city level? Or where are we?
We've got some on the books.
Okay.
They're just not very enforceable, because every time we've
Odor
threatened
is
to sue.
subjective, it's hard to measure.
Well,
There's
and
lots of different.
ADQ does not like the smell tests either, because it puts them in this is a qualitative, it's very
I
qualitative.
agree. It could be managed better, and like I say, at the end of the day, the only way that we're going to be able to make anything happen is just actually going through legal action,
No,
and it's coming by resolution and going through legal action on that.
Yeah, we don't have anything, in our code that would set forth rules and regulations as to what we as a community would allow, in this instance. And that's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation where we'd love to do something about a problem that we have as a community, but unfortunately, we don't have the rules and regulations in place that would allow us to. It's unfortunate.
Let's move on to item 5, discussion regarding downtown parking issue with downtown merchants. I believe each and every one of you were presented just a draft.
Yeah,
Mr. Gray.
it should say draft on it too. It was, when it's printed, there's no draft on it, but
Yeah.
we had big draft watermark on there. So this is just, last month, this was brought to me by some downtown merchants. We met back in April, I believe was our first meeting. And I listened to the merchants. I told them, hey, I'll bring it forward. I brought it forward last month. We discussed it, and council said, bring us back something to look at. So I met with lots of folks that are here in the room tonight, as well as other people. There was other council. I know Ms. Wetzel was at a meeting. And I don't know if any of you others have been at any of these meetings or see the issues. And so this is what we came up with to show you something. This is not, I'm not trying to fast track anything. I don't want to vote on anything right now. I just want to present the first iteration of some ideas and let everybody take a look at it. Mr. Wilson came up with, I think it was Mr. Wilson came up with the idea of, or maybe it was Mr. Wetzel, he was in a meeting with us, that we use the downtown historic district as sort of the parking framework to start with. So that's what's in front of you. And so I've done my diligence to bring it back to you to look at. And again, this could be a short discussion, a long discussion. I would like to hear from any of the downtown merchants or anyone else who is for or against. And we'll say one thing. No one has ever, in any iteration, has anyone ever proposed paying for parking downtown. I keep getting emails from people saying, I don't want to pay to park downtown. No one has suggested that. No one wants that. We're not proposing any sort of pay system. So I'd like for everyone to stop sending me emails telling me to stop. I don't want to pay for parking, but no one's ever suggested that.
My only critique of it is it says declaring an emergency.
Oh, that's
Emergical, yeah.
That was boilerplate.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
This is not something that will be, this
Yeah,
is a
was-
draft. This has not gone through.
Yeah, we
This
took
is not something that
Conway's
will become
ordinance
legal,
and
so.
melded it to Russellville. So yeah, that shouldn't even be in there.
I would just suggest a staged implementation that if we passed it, that maybe there would be warning tickets written for a certain period of time, just because the more ways we have to communicate, the harder it is to communicate, because some people aren't going to see anything in the paper. They're not going to see anything on our website. They're not going to see anything on Facebook, and then they're going to
Yeah.
go get a ticket and be mad because, like, well, I didn't know.
Right. When that's been one of the suggestions from the get-go. This would be a phased-in thing. We start, you put the signs downtown, either signage or on the street, like Conway's put theirs on the street in the parking spot. We don't even have parking spots yet, so we're not ready
Yeah.
for that. So
That's
we
coming.
will soon. We will soon. But this would be very much a phased-in thing. Get used to it. We've had a lot of input from downtown merchants and folks that I know Mr. Posey and some other people have made some recommendations of 15-minute spots, because those are very needed, especially at corners for a lot of businesses. That would be very helpful. Loading and unloadings come up. Well, if you're in any city of any kind, when a truck's downtown unloading for downtown Taco or Old Bank or whatever, they're going to be double parked for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Unloading. That's not a violation. That's just doing business. That's just daily life, doing business. So I would like to hear from, has anybody signed up on this issue?
No, I don't think so. But if anybody
Ms. Walker, would you like to speak on this? Because Ms. Walker's been leading the charge with the merchants downtown. So I certainly want to hear from people. Again, I don't live downtown, but when I want
Sir,
our
are you
downtown to
wanting to
be as
speak
prosperous as possible.
after her? Okay.
Okay, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Yancy Walker. The ordinance that you'll have in front of you is just a draft. It's a working draft. We just sent it out to fellow downtowners yesterday, and so we're slowly hearing feedback and concerns from people who live downtown, work downtown, who own buildings, and so, yeah, I think the importance was really hearing from everybody to have a really great sprinkling of 15-minute spots, 2-hour and all day. That would be on each block. So it's not like all-day parking would be way on the north side of downtown or way on the south side. Anywhere you are, even if you're a resident, there would be an all-day spot, 15-minute spot, or 2-hour spot close to your front door, really, within a block.
And would you remind everybody what the proposal is, the time, the days of the week and the times? This
Right.
is not all the time.
This is not all the time. And it's actually going, from what we're told, like with people who want to like live downtown, usually you're at school or you're at work all day and then you come home. So the proposed hours that we've been discussing are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Park wherever in the evening and on the weekend as well. 15-minute spot on each corner. A lot of the businesses felt like that would really help their business. Lots of times people are just trying to come downtown, grab something and leave. 2-hour parking in the spots that would be just hopefully a high turnover rate to increase people being able to get downtown in a quickly manner on their lunch, dinner, etc. Anyone have any questions?
So one thing that I would suggest, or I like, or whatever, however you want to say it, I like how when it gets painted on the ground, as opposed to seeing a bunch of signs.
I
I
agree.
don't want to see a bunch of signs. I'm good with the ground paint.
That's
not
what
so much
Conway
the
does.
signs.
Have you seen Conway's?
No, we're not
Yeah.
going to talk about Conway. We're not Conway.
But I understand that, but I like what they've done. They put green or blue paint in each spot, and it tells you what it is, 2 hours or 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever.
No, I agree. Yeah, the signs, I'm out on the signs.
Yeah.
But I like it. Thank you for putting that together. That's exactly what I was looking for. I'd like to take some time to go through it, but
Yes,
I like
and
it.
let
I
us
like
know
it
if you have
overall.
any pointers or if anything stands out that you think needs to maybe be adjusted. Like I said, it's a working document. We're getting feedback from all of those involved.
Have you, as you know, like I'm a part of the Limley House. It's a 3-hour class once a week. The Limley House is
Oh, yes,
3 hours. Have you
yes.
guys talked about any type of passes or like, they're just not gonna be able to come if they can't, if they have to move their car every 2 hours and they've been doing it for 10 years. So have you
Right.
guys thought of any like pass systems for people that have a specific item down there? I know we
Yes.
talked about it. I just didn't see it in there, so I wasn't sure.
Right, yes. So that was discussed originally, and then it just kind of got to where it'd be pretty messy.
It
But-
is. I know that's who hit me today though. I thought, man, that's a big chunk of
Right.
people.
But then again, like I left C&D on North Commerce and drove home on South Commerce. At 11:15, there were 40 spots empty on Main Street from Commerce, don't think I'm done,
Yeah.
west to Denver or in south to Boulder. There were 40 parking spots empty, and then returning at 12:15, there were at least 20. I think that there's a lot of spots on Main that remain open that wouldn't be subject to the 2 hours. But then also, I think, we're trying not to make plans with certain businesses in mind, more as a district, because we never know what might come and go. But I do think, like that special group of ladies, the time limit ends at 5 p.m., so if they're there from 3 to 7, then there's no ticket involved.
2 to 5. And so
2 to 5.
that was just someone that hit me today, and they were like, well, what are we going to do? And I thought, well, I'll ask what we're going to do. And maybe we could do it 8 to 4. I don't know. But I don't know if that would hurt you to do 8 to 4 or not. But there are a couple of different groups that do have, like, meetings that they're there a lot.
Right.
And this specific group is probably not going to park downtown.
Right. And then they've edited the diagram to include,
It's messy. It's hard to do it in a way that's...
from North Commerce to Arkansas on B Street, all-day parking. So no matter where you are, there's all day that you can get to, 15-minute that you can get to, and 3 hour or 2 hour that you can get to. Were my directions correct? I have to picture it and think there's Dover north. It sounds stupid, but
Sir, would you like to come up and state your name? Yeah, when you say.
yes. And then enforcement, we're still working on that. We have a couple of different ideas. Hopefully it won't be too intensive or expensive for the city, so. Does any of my neighbors have anything else to add? Okay, but again, Oh, yes.
Yeah, we need you to come up so that if you want to speak, we have to have you come up and speak to the mic. And
Yes.
please state your name so that the people at home, when they're
Again,
watching,
there
that's
were
what they
like
need. So,
20 to 40 spots open in front of Liberty Bank, in front of all the downtown businesses right there during lunch hours. But all the streets were full. So just pivoting people who are parking on the street all day to parking somewhere where maybe the turnover isn't as readily easy for people to get to.
I'm TJ Posey, one of the owners of Lighthouse Companies. We're on the corner of Denver and B Street, and I just want the council to consider. I want to affirm a lot of the work that's been done, but Mr. Gray said that I did propose a 15-minute option 2, and I just want to reiterate that would be very beneficial, I think, for a lot of the merchants downtown. Because a lot of those dedicated spots tend to remain open sometimes, and we have a kind of a mixed business where we have employees that stay all day, we have customers that come in and out. Some people are there for hours, some people are there for a few minutes to drop off papers, and so I would like to see you guys continue as you draft this plan to keep that in mind, and also kind of to affirm what Mr. Olson said. We did spend a bunch of money making downtown look pretty, and if we can do that without signs every 7 feet, I think that's a wonderful, cost-effective idea. So, thank you.
yes, sir.
Hi. My name is Corey Price. I'm the owner of Elite Hair Salon on the corner of North Commerce and Main. And the parking thing is going to affect like everybody. It seems to me like it's a handful of businesses, and we're talking about redoing all of downtown for the handful of businesses. I don't think that's right. I'm not from here, so I don't know, but it's my understanding that things like this have been tried in the past with meters or whatever, and then they go away. So if something worked, I don't know why it's not there. There are people that live there. My stepdaughter lives there, and my employees work there. So what you're going to end up having is I'll just tell them to park on, like, what you saw on Main Street and take that up, like, all day. I know that there's got to be a solution to this, but I don't know I would never try to make a solution for somebody else's business. I don't like them trying to make one about mine. Some of our services, like you said, 3 hours. Some of those are 4 or 5, 6 hours. That's a girl in there working her tail off for that. And she's going to get a ticket when she comes out, and so is her client. Like, I don't agree with that. The parking over there isn't bad. If parking's an issue, don't be downtown. It's been an issue forever. Go somewhere else where maybe parking is in abundance. But this has been down here ever since I've been here. So it's not surprising. It's not like you changed it after the fact. You knew what you were getting into. You knew it. That's the allure of being down here. So, yeah, I'm anti, if you can't tell.
Oh, but thank you for
Wait,
sharing
what'd
that.
you say your
because
first name was,
It's the same
sir?
thing I was talking to you
Corey.
about.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay. All right. Does anyone else want to speak? Yes, ma'am. Come up to the podium.
Hey, I'm Amanda. Can y'all hear me? Amanda Taylor. I own the Plant Parlor downtown. I can say that since I've moved down there, because we were open on Parkway previously in a awful parking situation. I don't know that it could have been any worse. But I have had customers, I've lost customers who refuse to park downtown for one reason or another, mostly because of the lack of parking right up front. It's not customers, though. It's not people that are down there using the restaurants and using the services downtown. It's not customers who are sitting there for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. So I don't even know that it's residents in a lot of spots, because there is so much parking around, like Yanti, you were saying, within a block, there's like 40 spots, and that's literally a 2-minute walk. So, I don't know. I don't think the public really understands what the problem is with it. I don't think 2 hours would affect anybody that works down there. I don't think it would affect anybody that lives down there, unless you can't. No, go. Well,
Okay,
It doesn't need to be a debate.
okay, you're fine. We just need to, if we want to have discussion, if we can, we have, I mean, and I apologize about that, but we have a group of people that are not here, and this is a public meeting, so and
No, you're good.
so, like I say, we could have good dialogue, I would appreciate it, and I think so. Thank you for both of you being here.
too. I was just saying that it's not the same as parking in a driveway. No matter where you park downtown, you are going to have to walk up a little bit. And so my store is right there at the corner of B Street in Denver, and I park over towards the end of I call it bumper to bumper. Everybody else calls it
Yeah.
Lowe's. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because your age. No, I'm just kidding.
I park there. It takes me 1 minute. I only have 2 employees, but I have them park over there or further. And it's a 1 minute if you really just want to take your time and stroll, it's a 2-minute walk. And I get that's that corner alone. It's not Main Street. I'm not entirely sure how the parking is on the other side of Main Street, in that area.
To my knowledge, we have no issue.
Okay.
The clients don't complain about it, and neither do the clients don't, thank you. The clients don't complain about
Yeah.
it, and neither do the people that work there. It's all fine. And you're right, 2-minute walk, 3-minute walk, whatever, that's fine. But you're having to do it in the heat, in the snow, carrying all your stuff, doing all that. That is not how to have your house and to be able to do it one day and not the next. I don't regret. And there's nothing even, this is the back of the bank beside us. We're not affecting anybody on that side. If you take us out, I'll go away. That's fine. Take out Commerce, I'm gone. That's fine.
Yeah, I have no clue how the parking is on the other side. I just know that you can look online. Sorry, you can look online anytime there's any kind of a conversation on any of the word of mouth or Main Street. It is people saying, "I refuse to go downtown and park because I can't shop. I can't park right there, and I don't want to walk in." So if we had those 2-hour spots right there, people that are not down there all day would be encouraged to park 1 block away, so that the people who want to come in and spend hundreds of dollars in our stores downtown, thousands for some, they can come in. They're not going to be discouraged. I think that if we want our downtown to grow, we're going to have to help the businesses, because nobody's going to want to walk around downtown with their margarita if there's nowhere to go. Like,
Well, that was one
businesses
of the
can't come and
things-
go. Like,
That was one of the things that I know you brought up in a meeting, and other folks did too. 15 years ago, we didn't have an issue. Nobody cared about downtown because there wasn't a whole lot going on in downtown. In our long-range plan in 2013, that was one of the things that was brought up. It says, you do not have this problem now, but if the development continues downtown, you will have this problem. And here we are. They said within, what did they say? Sarah, was in 10 years or whatever, something like that, it's that time. And we have that issue because we have a lot going on. And so I've lived in large places before, and just traveling, when you travel, if you're going to go downtown somewhere, what's the first thing you think about? Where am I going to park? And so you make a parking plan, and you urbanites carry an umbrella, and it's just part of living in downtown. If you're loading, you double park and you unload, so I just want our businesses to thrive. Mr. Sheeran's back there, and I know that their business pays bumper to bumper, as you called it, Lowe's. They've been paying them for 12 years for parking spaces. No downtown business should start their month in the hole. $750, I believe, is what they're paying, so people can park to come into their restaurant. And so we do have a parking issue, but it's caused by really good things. There's a lot of stuff going on downtown. And from what I've been told by the downtowners, I don't live down there, but I've been shown the pictures and the video. It seems to be people who work down there are parking all day. Is that fair? I mean, that's what I've been told. I don't know. So when people come down to shop at your shop, it may be hard to find the parking spot
It
because
is, yeah.
it's the same cars every day, apparently.
The 15-minute spots would be great, though, because we have a lot of people who can then come in and shop, and then if they need to pull around to bring out their big purchases, then they can do that. A lot of people won't shop at my store in particular because they don't want to carry their, big, huge plants back to their car that's 2
Right.
blocks away, but the 15-minute spots are wonderful for that.
So we've got a little bit more thinking and talking to do.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So,
When this first came up, some folks of the downtown group were saying, well, when can we have something? And I said, this is
it's a
going to
while.
be summer homework for maybe if whatever they come up with. We might land the plane in the winter. I don't know. But this is the process. This is the making sausage where we try to figure out a problem. The problem's been brought to us, and the council said they want to hear more. We've got more. And I hope we continue to talk about this and try to find a solution that it's not going to fit everybody's needs. Not everybody's going to be happy no matter what we came up with. And if we come up with nothing, not everybody's going to be happy. So
What I do like is looking at this map is there's all-day parking within a block of anything. And I think the apartment that you were talking about is about, it's just right around the corner, and it would only be 2 hours from 8 to 5 during the week, so it's not, they could still park there on the weekend and everything. I understand your concern, but I feel like that maybe obviously it needs to be dialed in, but it's a good start. I think it's a good start.
Are we having complaints on the south side of Main Street at this point? Like, are we?
not at this time. I don't
So
think
do
we're
we
having
have
anything
to
on the south,
include
but
that in
somebody
the
did
first phase?
recommend doing the whole thing if you're going to do it. But like I say, I don't know that we're having any complaints on the south side at this time. So we are.
I'd like to do a little research on that.
So the merchants are talking to you. I was say because they haven't talked to me. So yeah, 6.
thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll have some more conversation then, and kind of you guys look at it and see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'd like to research a little bit the Denver, Commerce, Boulder
Okay.
side streets, just to see other people's opinions too, like Mr. Price's.
Okay. And we may have more public meetings to where kind of like what we did over at,
Well, and also, last thing, I want to remind everyone, we built a parking lot down there with 38
38, 39 spots, yeah.
spots. It's not that far. That's where I usually park until downtown, until the creek project started. I always park there and just walked up. It's bring an umbrella, whatever. And then once the project's finished, how many more spots do we think we're 11 or 12? So we're getting more parking down there. We're getting there. It's just, again, it's the mind switch that we talked about, and we showed that slide of if you take Walmart and superimpose it on downtown, nobody thinks anything about walking from produce to sporting goods in Walmart, but that's basically Old Bank to the depot parking lot on the west side, and that's inside Walmart. So anyway, we'll continue. I want to, Ms. Walker, downtowners, please, let's meet again and
Thank you
continue to
guys
take
for coming
input.
out. I appreciate that. That makes the community great. Moving on to item 6, this is not going to be, I just want to kind of give you guys an update. Mr. Baldwin was here, kind of give you an explanation of what was going on there. The reason that you had a situation that was a traffic situation, that RPD, if the motorhome was parked in the road, it was RPD. If it's parked in the yard, it was code enforcement. The current code dictates that if the car is parked there for more than 7 days, then, or if the motorhome is parked for more than 7 days, then code enforcement can enforce that violation. The way it reads right now is if he left on the eighth day and came back on the ninth day, the 7 days resets. And so long-range planning has kind of taken this up, and they're working on something that would make it 7 days in a 30-day or in a calendar month. So that takes that out of being able to, stay there for a 7-day period. You can't do that, and you can't reset that. So they're working on that. So I just kind of wanted to give you, because there were some questions on whether or not how we were enforcing that and why we weren't. Well, the problem was we couldn't enforce because the truck was being moved, it reset, and so they talked to planning this week, and long-range planning is jumping in on that and trying to get that taken care of. So
I appreciate that, because that's one of the things, if our ordinances are not working,
we're trying to
yeah, we
rework
need to
them.
fix it.
We
So
are,
I'm
and
glad
they're
we
doing
are.
a good
That's-
job.
That's good news.
So, all right. I think that's it. Does anyone have anything for the good of the group or anything before we leave? I will entertain a motion. Have a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.